Police Chief Jim Hurley, and welcome to this edition of the Leicester Police Department Weekly News. During this edition of the Weekly News, we'll bring you up to date on the events that occurred in your Leicester Police Department through June 15th, 2016. The first incident that we're going to discuss is the photo that you see on your screen. This is a motor vehicle crash that occurred on Monday, May 30th at approximately 12:13 p.m. That's 12:13 in the afternoon. This crash occurred on Pleasant Street when the motor vehicle that you see went off the road and struck a guardrail. This is not a metal guardrail, as you can see from the second photo on your screen. It is a guardrail that has the cement post with the cable strung through it. So there are multiple posts that you can see that were damaged and knocked down, so the town will have to be doing some repair work on that, and the car did suffer considerable damage from having struck those cement posts. There were no serious injuries. The next incident that we're going to discuss occurred on Sunday, May 29th at approximately 2:25 p.m. when officers responded to Pleasant Street for a report of a road rage incident. During that road rage incident, it's alleged that a gentleman followed another man and his female companion to their home, pulled up on their lawn, and pointed the firearm that you see in the photo on your screen at them. If you note down just below the firearm, there are two bullets that you can see. There were actually 5 bullets that came with the weapon. It was fully loaded, but we had to cut those other 3 out so that we could fit the photo onto the screen. The gentleman who the gun was pointed at was able to get a license plate. We put out a regional broadcast from the Leicester Police Department for that vehicle, and our law enforcement partners over in Spencer stopped the vehicle a short time later. Leicester responded and took that individual into custody, and the firearm was recovered. That case is currently pending before the East Brookfield District Court. The next incident occurred on May 30th at approximately 7:11 p.m. Many of you are probably familiar with the stone wall on Main Street near Wade Street. It's been hit several times. Well, during this incident, the stone wall was hit again. The stone wall before the driveway was hit, you can see there's heavy damage to that stone wall, and you can see from the vehicle photo that's on your screen now that the airbags deployed and that vehicle suffered extensive damage. Now, here's the interesting fact. We have contacted the Massachusetts Department of Transportation and asked them to review this location because there have been multiple accidents at that location over the past several years, including a truck fire that heavily damaged the gentleman's house. Fortunately, did not catch the house on fire, but melted a lot of the siding and caused other damage. We've asked Mass DOT to review this location to see whether a guardrail or some other type of preventative measure can be put in place. But also, the operator of this vehicle that hit the stone wall is the same person who hit the stone wall approximately a year ago. So you've got one individual who has hit the stone wall twice in approximately a year. The next photo you see on your screen comes from a shoplifting incident that occurred at the Walmart. You can see there is a cartload of merchandise that was removed from the store. Asset Protection did contact the Leicester Police, and we responded and conducted an investigation. The next photo on your screen is a tally for what was taken. And I always like to make this point with our viewers because many individuals see shoplifting as a victimless crime. This individual stole $434.92 worth of merchandise. Fortunately, they were apprehended. If that merchandise got out the door and was gone, guess who ends up paying for that every time they shop at Walmart? All of us do. Next is a motor vehicle crash that occurred on June 3rd at approximately 5:52 a.m. on Stafford Street. This is a 2-car head-on motor vehicle crash where one vehicle went across the center divider and struck the other vehicle head-on. You can see from the first vehicle on your screen that there was extensive damage to that vehicle. 3 individuals were transported to the hospital by the Leicester EMS ambulance. The second photo on your screen shows you the vehicle where one person had to be extricated from. The fire department came up, removed the roof and other parts of the vehicle, and were able to free that woman from the wreckage. fire department did a great job. This resulted in the road being closed for about an hour. This investigation remains ongoing at this time. However, the operator of the vehicle that you just saw with the roof cut off, that female has been cited for a traffic violation, and additional charges are a possibility. The next photo that you see on your screen is of what appears to be a real firearm. However, it's a pellet gun. And this pellet gun was found hidden under the trash container down at Toadtade Park. So somebody took this pellet gun, put it under a trash can in one of our public parks. And the question the police department would like to get answered is why there and why at a location where they could get easy access to it. Obviously, they were going to use this for some type of crime or intimidation. The next incident that you see on your screen occurred on 6/4 of 2016 at approximately noontime. This is a head-on motor vehicle crash on Mayflower Circle. And you can see from the diagram on your screen that one vehicle came around a bend and crossed into the path of the other vehicle and struck it head-on. And the next photo on your screen shows the damage that those vehicles incurred. The ambulance was on scene and did provide the appropriate medical assistance needed. On June 11th at approximately 2:57 a.m., residents of a Peter Salem Road home were awoken by a crash and went out into their front yard and found the vehicle that you see in the photo on your screen on their front lawn into the woods and up against a tree with extensive damage. They further investigated and found that their vehicle, which you see on the screen now, which was parked in their driveway, had been hit by that vehicle, and then the vehicle went off the parked vehicle and into the woods. And finally, from the next photo you see on your screen, you can see the tire tracks coming off of Peter Salem Road across the front lawn and then went to the driveway where the homeowner's vehicle was struck and the vehicle went into the woods. That crash remains under investigation. The operator was transported to the hospital. Another crash occurred yesterday, which was 6:15 at approximately 10 o'clock on Stafford Street in the vicinity of Staffordshire Apartments. On the screen you can see the vehicle which struck a pole. This was a single car accident, has extensive front end damage, and you can see in the photo my co-host, who was unable to make it this week, Sergeant Antanavica, recording some data for the accident report. Fortunately, there was no serious injury in this crash. As you can see from the next photo on your screen, the pole did suffer damage, and if you look very closely at the base of the pole, you can see it was moved a considerable distance. So the impact was very significant. Those poles do not move easily. And also during the past week, we investigated a crash at Paxton and Marshall Street. You can see from the photo on your screen, there is damage to the side of this vehicle. And as you can see from the next photo on your screen, there is front end damage to that vehicle. And we know that Paxton and Marshall Street, if you're on Marshall Street, you have a stop sign. So obviously the department will be looking into whether any violations occurred at that location. And finally, another accident occurred down just below the police station right here at Main Street and South Main, just down past Barbara's Crossing as you come up to St. Joe's Church. And you can see that this vehicle, which was driving east on Route 9, rear-ended another vehicle, and this vehicle suffered extensive damage. Again, no serious injuries in that crash. That concludes all of the events that occurred at the Leicester Police Department during the last week or so, and this information is current as of June 15th, 2016. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you again next week on the next edition of the LPD Weekly News. I would like to thank our executive producer and cameraman, Art Paquette, and LCAC for all they do for the Leicester Police Department to get this show out to you. Thank you.